So today we'll address and aim to understand the unique circumstances and challenges that immigrant families face and how they are essential to supporting participants. So while we be focusing on Latinx culture, many of these concepts apply anywhere a cultural difference can be found. Delia Rodriguez is our senior bilingual financial mentor, and she will be presenting for us today. She is a first-generation immigrant and college student with a mission to help expand their Decades program to empower the Hispanic community. Janice and I will be supporting her in the chat today. So with that, I'm looking forward to today's session, and I give it to you, Delia.
Thank you, Megan. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So if my thing decides to work, let's see. Yes, here we are. Okay. So today we'll discuss what cultural sensitivity is and why it is important and some of the benefits of that. We will also address some of the most common challenges participants from Latino backgrounds often face and explore strategies and methods to support them. Lastly, we will combine this information and review a few scenarios to put things into practice. We have prepared 2 scenarios based on real-life participant situations to discuss at the end. You can continue to stay with us to discuss the scenarios, or you can move on to networking in a break room. So let's start with being the first. We'll focus on the challenges participants are facing in our core program's age group. However, we can ignore the potential scars and traumas resulting from their upbringing and their experience as new immigrants. These challenges can include language barriers for them and their parents, academic challenges based on school zoning, parents not being able to support them with homework or even understanding the school system, having to juggle many family responsibilities at once, like supporting the homes financially, caring for the small siblings, also having to deal with difficulties in obtaining employment due to lack of local work experience, professional networks, at times even legal status. Navigating complex immigration laws and processes is often produces a feeling of isolation or homesickness. Additionally, there is a need to balance preserving their cultural identity while assimilating into the new society. As we know, our money views are tied to our upbringing, and it is a constant battle to heal from the money traumas. All of these hurdles make immigrants more likely to suffer from the imposter syndrome, that is fostering feelings of self-doubt and concerns about being a fraud, which can decrease motivation, making it harder to advance in their professional careers. It is not rare for some of the participants to postpone life goals like getting married, to cover for school supplies for smaller siblings or even cousins, to ensure that they have money to help pay for another family member's college tuition. Honoring and rewarding parent sacrifices is a driving motor that often limits their capability. Breaking these cultural barriers comes with a huge weight of responsibility and guilt. Many of our participants or even their loved ones are DACA recipients. DACA is a U.S. immigration policy for those who arrive in the U.S. as children. It stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals that can be renewed every 2 years to avoid deportation and secure a work permit, social security number, and a driver's license. DACA enables the ability to live and work openly and legally in the U.S. While it provides temporary stays, also creates a lot of uncertainty for participants, and often they don't share too much during the meetings. We find they struggle to justify expenses when we are reviewing their financial profiles. And regardless of the situation, immigration fees are extremely high. And although no lawyer is required to complete any documentation or even to submit an application, the uncertainty prompts them to look for lawyers or people who are dedicated to doing that, or at least that's the belief. Those fees, like I said, might be even higher than the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services fees. And another area where we can see the struggle of these effects is during the progress meeting or the final progress meeting, when participants express negative feelings for not being able to maybe make as much progress as they wanted to, or sometimes the numbers show that they went backward instead of forward. Hesitation around even scheduling a meeting due to perceived lack of progress is often met as well. As a mentor, it is important to validate and accept a struggle to make progress to encourage the continuation in the program. The table shows the current immigration fees for immigrants' most common applications and petitions, and it also includes lawyer fees. Immigration processes take time. So sometimes participants might lose the ability to work while waiting for the petition to go through. To put things in perspective, a participant who is petitioning a family member, for example, will have to save around $500 per month for an entire year to be able to cover for these fees. That is almost as much as maximizing a Roth IRA. These fees can feel definitely significantly higher for those with disabled jobs or that are earning a minimum wage. Now we are going to move into culture. Culture plays a significant role in shaping financial behaviors and attitudes within communities. Hofstede's cultural dimensions theory is a framework for understanding cultural values and how they impact behavior in organizations and societies. This model, developed by social psychologist Gerd Hofstede, identifies 6 cultural dimensions that we're going to be covering today. So the first one is power distance. It measures the extent to which less powerful members of a society accept and expect the way that the power is going to be distributed, and is often unequally. Then we have individualism versus collectivism, which focuses on the degree of interdependence a society maintains among its members. Then we have masculinity versus femininity, that emphasizes the distribution of emotional roles between the genders. Then we have uncertainty avoidance, measures the tolerance for uncertainty and ambiguity within a society. Then we see long-term versus short-term orientation, which describes how every society has to maintain some links with its own past while dealing with the challenges of the present and the future. And then we have indulgence versus restraint, that measures the extent to which people try to control their desires and impulses. Using the lens of the 6D model by the Culture Factor Group, I attempted to analyze 4 countries with the highest Latin immigrants population in the US. The results show low scores for individualism and long-term orientation, also high scores for indulgence, which correlates with the importance of supporting and taking care of family members struggling to set long-term goals, controlling discretionary spending, and prioritizing savings and investings. Then we have gender roles. Traditionally, gender roles in many Latinx households have assigned men as the primary breadwinners and decision makers regarding financial matters, while women often have to take the caregiving and household management roles. They may result in disparities in earning potential and financial independence between men and women. Also, due to society expectations and cultural norms, women may face barriers to entering the workforce or advancing in their careers. This can lead women to having less access to financial resources and opportunities for wealth and accumulation. They can also have an effect in financial decision-making within the family. Men may be expected to take the lead of managing the investments, making the biggest purchases, and the long-term financial planning, while women may have limited input in these matters. This could impact the women's financial literacy and also the confidence on managing their own finances. They might also influence attitudes towards savings and spending. For example, men and women may have different expectations placed upon them regarding providing financial support to extended family members. In some cultures, it is the woman who has to take care of the elder parents. In some cultures, it's the opposite. The male is the one who has to take care of aging parents. Also, we see like they might be not be able to participate in specific cultural social events that can also impact their financial priorities and behaviors. It is common to see participants struggling to communicate about money with partners or spouses for fear of being in the same situation as their parents or projecting traditional gender roles. Then we also have the religious beliefs. Religious teachings might encourage charitable giving or discourage certain types of debt. Similar to family customs, religion teachings often emphasize the importance of charity, generosity, and helping those in need. Many people who adhere to religious beliefs are motivated to donate a portion of their income to charitable causes and support their communities through various financial means. Individuals who regularly donate to charitable causes may experience a reduction in their disposable income that is going to impact their ability to save or invest for the future. However, some studies suggest that engaging in charitable activities can bring a sense of fulfillment and happiness that will indirectly improve their overall well-being, which can positively affect the financial decision-making. Then we move into family. So family is incredibly important in the Hispanic community. It plays a central role in providing emotional support and guidance. Close-knit family bonds often serve as a source of strength and comfort, particularly during challenging times. Family is integral to preserving cultural traditions and passing down language, values, and customs to the younger generations. In many Latinx households, multiple generations live together or maintain strong connections that will foster a sense of unity and belonging. The family also often serves as a key support system in navigating financial and personal challenges, creating a network of trust and assistance. The concept of family extends beyond the immediate relatives to include distant relatives and close friends, or those friends that become family, creating a broad and interconnected community that provides a sense of identity, belonging, and support. Then, on the other hand, we have that family can cause stress in financial decisions in several ways. There may be a pressure to conform to certain financial expectations, such as funding family events, educational expenses, or providing financial support to relatives. This can create stress if one feels unable to meet these expectations. Family members may have different opinions on how the money should be managed or spent, which can lead to conflicts and tension. If the family has financial struggles, individuals may feel obligated to help, even if that strains their own financial situation. Another difficult thing that immigrant families or immigrant community experience is the absence of a family member due to immigration or other reasons that can disrupt the family support system and financial stability. Those who are left behind may experience feelings of loneliness, anxiety, and increased responsibilities, while those who have migrated might encounter difficulties in providing financial support from a distance, in addition to those same feelings of loneliness and anxiety. These challenges can impact individuals' mental well-being and their ability to pursue education, career opportunities, and even obtain financial independence. The vast majority of immigrants, and many might have discussed this with participants during the meetings, have family in their home countries. Despite the emotional pain, this comes with a huge financial responsibility. It is common for participants to support relatives' education in their home countries before their own academic goals in the US. There is also something very common in the Latin families called moral responsibility, and the weight is heavier than the pressure of paying the bills on time. So it is very common to see large values on the money for family expenses and little to nothing allocated to savings in financial profiles. Family expectations. The pressure to meet certain family standards or fulfill specific roles often placed on individuals by their families can make it really, really difficult to balance with their personal aspirations. As I mentioned earlier, the moral responsibility of supporting aging parents and helping extended family members is one of the heaviest weights many immigrants and participants may carry. But family and cultural beliefs go deeper and can affect other areas, such as career choices. Getting a degree is a huge accomplishment for first-generation immigrants and their families. However, it can be overwhelming as well. You might have heard things in the meetings like, I went to school for this because it is the only thing acceptable in my culture, but I wish that I was doing something different and maybe making more money. In some cultures, if you're not a doctor or a lawyer, you're irrelevant. Parents get upset and feel left out by the kids. So dealing with the disappointment, even after many years, it is discouraging and emotionally unhealthy. Sometimes also parents might withdraw the support if you don't go to law school or medical school. We're not going to support you in your education. So that's another pressure for many immigrants. Then self-doubt seems to double due to the generational beliefs and family chains where the parents' approval results in feelings of low self-worth. Family members often provide guidance, advice, and sometimes even financial support when it comes to important financial matters. However, family input gets tricky when they want to decide how to use the money. Parents, mostly dads and older brothers, have wisdom, at least that's the belief. So their opinions are heard and accepted with a high regard. They might give direct input on a specific purchase, like a card, or ask direct questions like, why did you spend so much or so little on this? Why didn't you give more money to church? Or why didn't you help your sister with the school fees? And many, many more questions that any adult might feel debilitating or diminishing, but it is a standard norm and it's often a normalized situation within Hispanic families. Another tricky area is where the money is held. Many people don't believe in online banking, others don't even believe in banks at all. And talking about investing is prohibited. I've heard things like, I moved my money back from the high yield savings account to my checking account because my parents kept telling me it was not safe, and I just got tired of arguing about it. So the pressure to conform is very high. Then parents' educational backgrounds are also strong associated with their children's life outcomes. Research has shown that parents with higher levels of education tend to have children who achieve higher levels of academic success, have better job prospects, and experience greater overall well-being. Immigrant families might face challenges that limit their ability to provide educational support and resources for their children. Cultural differences and the timing of the immigration may also impact a child's educational experience. As a result, children of immigrant parents might have less access to educational resources compared to their peers whose parents were born in the US. Despite the high value that immigrant families place on education, many struggle to complete the post-secondary education, mostly due to pressure to support their families. 20% of US children were kids of immigrants in 2020. And from that 24% of children of immigrants, 42% were in low-income families. The graph shows the level of educational attainment by the timing of immigration. As we know, we have many first, second, and third generation immigrants in our participants. There is a well-documented correlation between education and earnings. Individuals with higher levels of education tend to have higher earning potential, career stability, and better job opportunities that come with competitive benefit packages. So that leads us to access. The Economic Policy Institute estimates that only 4 out of 10 Latino workers have an employer-sponsored retirement plan. Many may face language barriers that make it difficult for them to understand their benefit options, communicate with an HR department, or complete necessary paperwork. Some may be even unaware of the full range of benefits available to them or how to even access them, leading to underutilization of important resources. Latinos are also disproportionately represented in low-wage industries, which may not offer comprehensive benefit packages or might not even provide benefits to part-time employers or temporary employees. Documented immigrants may also face additional barriers in accessing employer benefits due to legal restrictions and fear of repercussions related to their status. Another area that we can kind of see very often is Latin families struggle to think proactively. They are expected, or it's very common to hear things like, we'll deal with whatever comes. So getting disability or even life insurance is money spent unnecessarily, and employers don't offer this type of insurance in many countries, so it is easily discarded. Then many members of the Latin community may feel apprehensive about engaging in financial institutions. That can be due to lack of culturally relevant resources and information available in Spanish. Also, maybe because of past negative experiences and complex financial products that can lead to a lot of trust in the financial system, and they might be reluctant to seek out financial services. Additionally, there may be a lack of understanding in the intricacies of financial products and services that can result in contributing to a sense of exclusion from the financial industry. The definition of success. Financial success within the Latin community can be viewed as the means to provide stability to oneself and the family. It is often believed that achieving economic security through education, entrepreneurship, and career advancement, it is amazing. But additionally, financial success can come from the ability to support and give back to the family members. As we know, familial ties and mutual support is highly valued. This is interconnected approach to financial success that emphasizes the community and familial well-being. My transitions were a little messed up, but interdecade, we emphasize wealth accumulation with long-term passive investment, and we demonstrate this with data in the classes. We demonstrate how much more return we can get from mutual funds, and we compare it to owning a home. But it is also important to be financially ready to purchase a home. However, in the Latin community, owning a home is the most accurate representation of success and wealth. It's believed that you might not have savings in the bank, but you're fine as long as you own a house. I have also heard things like, we have a lot of debt, but at least we got our house, so that is fine. It is common to hear participants discussing their goals of buying a home in the next year, even if they have high debt, are not contributing to retirement plan, and they don't have a fully funded emergency fund. So now that we have discussed some of the most common challenges, comes the biggest question. How can we help, or what can we do differently during the meetings? We can start by understanding traumas and mindsets. Clinical psychologist Dr. Usha Tumala describes acculturation as the dynamic process immigrants experience as they adapt to their new country. This refers to the challenges we have discussed today, among others. Many studies show that first-generation immigrants have a higher risk of developing common mental health disorders and severe mental illnesses. That way we analyze it and compare it from a financial point of view, can be represented as financial incest, unreasonable risk-taking, also rejection. I don't want to have to deal with my finances. I don't like looking at my statements. I don't like looking at my bank accounts. Risk aversion, those who don't believe in investing, those who don't believe in putting money on a high yield savings account because they just don't necessarily trusting. Financial enabling, this is supporting family members who, for any person, might feel like they are fully capable of taking care of their own needs, but it is one of the things that we experience. Also, compulsive buying. It is very straightforward thinking when we see that we have to spend less than what we make. But for someone who is experiencing feelings of homesick, of loneliness, and is experiencing with many other traumas and heartache, it is not necessarily that straightforward. So we can see participants who have high expenses, not making enough, but they are also spending a lot on discretionary expenses that is increasing their debt. Feelings of denial. I don't even look at my student loans. That is, as long as I don't look at them, they don't even exist. Underspending. That is, I feel guilty when I spend a large amount of money. If I don't go on a vacation, I feel like I'm not going to be able to achieve my goal of buying a home. Then we see workaholism. We might have many participants who only think about working, making money, and that's the only way of going. Hoarding, financial infidelity. Like I said, it is very common for immigrant participants to hide finances from their partner for fear of going through the same situation, or maybe we don't even share our finances. So it's okay if I don't know how much he makes or how much he makes and things like that. Let me go back here for a minute. An important thing that we need to note is that immigrants are less likely to seek mental health services, and the mental health stigma is even higher because many immigrant families don't even think that mental health is an issue. It doesn't even exist in their community, so they are less likely to go and look for help. Another way to help or kind of take a different approach during the meeting is to understand money beliefs. which encompass the attitudes, values, and perceptions that individuals and communities might hold regarding money, financial management, and wealth. These beliefs are shaped by a multitude of factors, including cultural differences, historical experiences, familial upbringing, and personal experiences with money. Money beliefs can vary widely across cultures and communities, influencing how individuals approach earning, spending, saving, investing, and sharing their financial resources. So, understanding your own money beliefs can help you empathize with and better understand participant beliefs. By recognizing how your own cultural background, values, and experiences shape your attitudes toward money can help you develop a more nuanced perspective on how these factors are influencing the participants. This awareness can also allow you to approach financial situations and financial discussions with greater sensitivity and insight, fostering stronger connections and enabling you to tailor your advice and strategies to align with the unique beliefs and priorities. According to the financial psychologist Brad Clance, money beliefs that determine our money scripts, which are beliefs developed around money and passed down from generation to generation. They are also influenced by culture, childhood experiences that sometimes are buried in the subconscious. So we have those things that we don't necessarily understand or can explain why they happen because we put them on the back burner, kind of forgot about them, and then we have to deal with something similar to PTSD when those feelings resurface. They're also subjective, since the emotion around money is passed down from a generation to generation. So for example, our grandparent experience is something that we grow up hearing and we have that fear, but it is not necessarily based on current events or things that are happening in our surroundings. It's just that the feeling that was basically ingrained in us while growing up. And those feelings and emotions have been with us for so long that it's going to be very difficult to change them. So for the money scripts, Dr. Claus describes 4 types. And the first one is money avoidance, which is believing that money is bad. So it results in ignoring everything related to finances. It comes from negative feelings and experiences with money. And people who exhibit money avoidance have tendencies of feeling anxious, fearful about managing their money, ignoring bills, financial statements, avoiding making necessary financial decisions. Again, if I don't look at it, it's like it doesn't exist. Then we have money focus. That is the belief that money is power and will buy happiness. There is a tendency to believe that the more money that you have, the less problems that you will have. People who exhibit this money focus may experience compulsive buying or hoarding, unreasonable risk-taking, overspending, which results in high debt. Then we have the money status that is ties self-worth to net worth. So there tends to be a desire to always have more than the peers, family, friends. It's always a comparison game that can easily lead to falling into the hedonic treadmill, incurring high debt, struggling to save and invest. Then we have the money vigilance, which is being cautious about money, often emphasizing the importance of saving and avoiding unnecessary spending. But this can also lead to excessive savings, frugality, and anxiety and guilt. We are going to next approach cultural sensitivity. So cultural sensitivity refers to being aware and respectful of the beliefs, values, customs, and practices of different cultures. It involves understanding and appreciating cultural differences and being able to interact effectively with people from diverse backgrounds. It also implies withholding judgment in order to better understand and respect the different cultural practices and beliefs. There are 6 stages on how we experience cultural sensitivity or how we approach cultural sensitivity according to Milton Bennett. And the first one is denial. Individuals are not aware of cultural differences, and then they tend to believe that their own culture is the only way of life. Then we have defense. People start to feel threatened by cultural differences and may become defensive about their own cultural norms and values. Then we have the minimization stage, where individuals begin to recognize, yes, there might be some differences, but they downplay the significance. So at the end, we are all humans. We are all pretty much the same. So yes, I understand, but I don't necessarily agree with that. Then we have the acceptance stage, which is where we start appreciating the value and valuing cultural differences. We also understand that there are different ways of living and that each one has its own validity. Then we move into the adaptation stage, which is where we kind of start to shifting perspectives and behaviors to accommodate to different cultural practices and viewpoints. We are often more open to learning and integrating with the new cultural forms. And then we get to what we all are striving to achieve, which is integration. In this final stage, it involves the ability to move in and out of different cultural worldviews with ease. Individuals in this stage have a global perspective and are able to effectively communicate and interact with people from diverse cultural backgrounds. And then we have the benefits of cultural sensitivity. So cultural sensitivity can greatly improve empathy by helping you understand and appreciate different cultural perspectives, values, and experiences. When you are sensitive to different cultures, you become more open-minded and more empathetic, which can improve your ability to relate to others, show genuine concerns for their experiences and feelings, and avoid making assumptions or generalizations based on cultural stereotypes. Approaching each individual with a deeper understanding of the unique experiences and perspectives can significantly enhance our ability to connect with others on a deeper and more meaningful level. Also, understanding and respecting cultural diversity can enable you to tailor your communication style to be more inclusive and considerate of other people's backgrounds. It can also help you avoid unintentionally causing offense or misunderstanding. It also allows you to adapt your communication approach to align with the values and beliefs of those that you're communicating with, leading again to more meaningful and productive interactions. You can also use cultural sensitivity to help someone feel more confident by understanding and appreciating the cultural background, values, and experiences. By demonstrating respect and genuine interest in their culture, they can feel valued and respected for who they are, which can in turn boost their confidence. So encouraging open and respectful discussions about different cultural perspectives and experiences can also foster a sense of belonging and confidence in sharing the unique identity. We can build better rapports with the participants by being more open-minded. Overall, demonstrating cultural sensitivity can create an atmosphere where individuals are going to be more comfortable and confident being themselves. We can also use it to help someone make positive behavioral changes by understanding the cultural factors that might influence their behaviors. By recognizing and respecting their cultural perspectives, we can tailor our approach to align with their values and beliefs. And additionally, by incorporating elements of their culture in the process of change, I know that you value this, so let's go from here and try to incorporate those elements. It's going to feel more relatable and meaningful to them. So that's going to prompt them to create make positive changes. Actively involving the individual's culture, community, or support network can also provide additional reinforcement and encouragement for sustained positive behavioral changes.
Listen, I really appreciate all the information. There's a lot of information there. Thank you very much. And I'm Hispanic myself, soy cubano, first generation. I was born here 60 years ago, but still first generation, and proud to be part of third decade, and proud that third decade is making an effort to help the Hispanics out there. In this, the discovery meeting, I would first get to know the person, he or she. What is their job? What do they like to do? What is their goal? Do they have kids? How old are they? Where do they live? At some point, I would like to educate them on the money that they're leaving on the table at the 401k, right? Because if I'm reading this right, this company matches 100%. If they put 6% in, the company matches 100%. So try and educate them and show them by numbers on the money that they're actually leaving on the table. I think once I understand their goals, because I mean, it just seems to be 401ks are main thing being the first topic here.
Yes, that is an excellent approach. Something that we definitely want to include and educate and try to incorporate, hopefully, on the plan. So thank you so much for being a volunteer with us and for being with us today and helping us expand our vision. And then another thing that we can also try during the meeting would be, as you mentioned, gather as much information as possible. You might learn in these type of situations that there are participants helping younger siblings with college tuition, and maybe the participant is supporting the parents or extended family members as needed. You want to validate. So try things like, maybe, I understand helping your family is important to you. And then you also want to check on the participant, like the emotional being. How do you feel about your parents relying on you for financial support? Have you talked to your partner about it if they are in a relationship? How do you handle these type of expenses within your budget? And then you also want to address the situation. How long will it take you for your siblings to finish school? Are they taking advantage of the many available scholarships that are out there? Also, you want to maybe try to find out if this financial support to the family is on a monthly basis, or is just like from time to time, depending on whenever they have a financial situation that requires support. And then you will kind of adjust the plan based on what we will want them to achieve, include some of the important the things that are important to them, because the purpose is not necessarily getting them to do what we want them to do. Yes, we want to empower them to be financially independent, to be in a better financial situation and stuff like that, but we cannot avoid these conversations of take care completely out of the picture, because that's not going to change. So one thing for a proposal maybe to adjust the plan will be for that in the case of they are assisting with college tuition, analyze the expenses. You can go over it with them and show them how you can analyze the expenses to make it a little bit less of a financial burden. Also ask questions in terms of maybe it's your sibling trying to get a work study or things like that. And in the scenario that is very, very common about the financial support to the family, if the financial support is based on their needs, so it happens from time to time whenever they need it, but it's a large expense, maybe 2 times throughout the year, you can talk about creating a bucket where you can contribute a small amount every month. And then whenever your family needs some type of support, you're going to take from that specific bucket. That way you can support them, like do what is important to you and your family and your values without having to compromise or sacrifice in your financial goals. That means you can do both. You can increase your contribution. You can support your family. It's just finding ways to work around things. And then the last thing would be to empower. So we can try things like, it is admirable that you're supporting and guiding your siblings towards financial independence through education, because at the end, this is kind of the belief, you're helping your younger siblings so they can get a better job. And then the more the merrier. The support for the family is going to continue kind of increasing from there. Also, I'm glad to hear how good you feel about being able to support your family when they need you. Just a reminder, take care of yourself. We can use analogies like the put on your mask first on the airplane or the life vest in the boat, and kind of asking questions like, what would happen if you focus all your attention on helping your family members, but you don't take care of yourself? If we're in the boat kind of situation, who's going to be able to help who if the boat is drowning and everyone is without a life vest? So we have to, again, keep into account the things that are important for them, without taking away the thing that we're trying to do, which is empowering them and helping them to get into a better financial position themselves.
So I would first congratulate them on buying the house, that they made the goal of buying the house to make them feel good about what they did. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't think that's the point right now. I think that, we had a discovery meeting. We talked about a couple things. Their primary goal was to get the house. So yeah, they have the new mortgage expense. Congratulate them on that. See if we can get to a place where we can understand what the cash flow is now, the spending plan within the house. Where is the emergency fund? Where are the expenses going? And the same credit card debt, I would like to understand, is it the same number, or is it that they brought it down and they bought new things for the house? I'd like to understand what that debt is. And then the savings would be, could be because they have less savings because they purchased a house, they had the down payment, they had the closing, they had all that, and that's okay. But what's the plan to build up that savings, and specifically that emergency fund, now that you have a house and everything that comes with a house? And as far as tracking expenses, I learned of a system, I guess you can call it. It's called Cube. And I don't know if you've all heard of it, but I find it to be very simple for people that don't want to track, that it makes it really simple to track. So I would expose them to something like that to help them track their expenses, not because they're doing anything wrong, but just so they become informed of where their money's at and how their money is working for them or not working for them, so they can control their money a little bit more.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your response. It is an amazing approach, and it's also aligned with what I have prepared for an approach. So yes, first of all, celebrate, congratulate them on achieving such an important goal. Use phrases or maybe encouraging sentences like, I understand how important this is for you and your family. Like you mentioned, Bert, they already purchased the house, so we just have to focus on the positive things, right? Then check on the participant. How are you doing with the transition? Did everything go smoothly during the process? Or other questions that you might want to find out in order to gather additional information. So you can say things like, let's include this new asset in your elements profile. Adding in the mortgage information will also help you to getting the numbers in mind to adjust the plan, and you might even find out that new information. It is very common for participants to say, my sister-in-law is going to be moving with us and she's going to be paying rent. So kind of they are already justifying this is what's going to happen. So yes, if there was an increase on the living expenses or the rent from the mortgage, but we have a plan, even if they don't say it directly. Then also maybe something like, I got a part-time job to help with the living expenses increase. Then you will want to address the situation. So have you adjusted your financial changes? Have you made any changes to your budget to prepare for those irregular expenses? How are you feeling in terms of your emergency fund? Like, what are we in terms of this? Then you will adjust the plan or propose alternatives. So now that you're a proud homeowner, we should identify or look into ways for increasing your emergency fund. It also would be a good idea to create maybe a bucket for home maintenance and repairs. You can even compare it to a car, the same way that we have to do regular maintenance to a car in order to preserve it. We have to do it with a house, so you don't have to be using your emergency fund every single time that you need something for your house. We want to kind of get out of this circle. And then if they are getting rent from a family member, which again is very, very common, you can suggest maybe let's use half of that to fund the emergency fund. If the disparity on income and expenses with the house purchase is significant, then they definitely need that money. If not, they can just definitely fund that emergency fund with that money. Same thing if it's a part-time. So let's use half of what you're making in your part-time job. Maybe let's use the first and the first paycheck from your monthly income from the part-time job to fund the emergency fund. And then you want to empower. So I'm really happy that you were able to accomplish this goal. I'm happy for you and your family. I recall that you mentioned this during the discovery meeting. And so I understand how important this goal is for you. Congratulations, you have worked really, really hard and it's showing. And then you can also note other financial accomplishments For example, most likely, yes, they decrease the debt, they take stakes from collections in order to improve their credit scores, in order to be able to be approved for the mortgage. They save a lot of money because they do the down payment. So you can highlight those things that can also show them, if you were able to accomplish this much in a year, imagine what you can accomplish moving forward. So you definitely have the discipline that requires to be where you want to be in terms of your finances. You can be very determined when you have a clear goal in mind. So those would be good approaches. Again, just kind of posing ideas on how we can include what is important for our participants with a Hispanic background without putting aside what we want to accomplish. It's just making sure that we are keeping in mind what is important to them, because we want many things for them, but they are not going to do what we want them to do. They are going to do what they want to do. So we just have to support them and try to guide them the best that we can. And that concludes today's Nibble. We hope that you found it delightful.